Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Sermon with Ola. First things first, I don't want to ever forget. Let me be grateful because this episode is sponsored by Studio Garba. I'm gonna show you guys my my little gift T-shirt I done got from Studio Garba. This is from the autumn winter line, I believe. Yeah, Studio Garba is a design studio that I mean, you might not know this, but like Studio is behind the whole rebrand, the whole art direction of Sunday Service and Sunday Sermon. The logo on the cap, the artwork on the podcast, the big sign behind me. All of that was based on a consultation and a commission and a delivery by Studio Garba. So get involved with the clothing line, but also if you have any graphic design needs, I would highly recommend Studio Garba for a very thorough, collaborative, and imaginative process. Now that we done got ads out the way, because now I'm doing ads clearly. I want to say thank you to all of you guys, man. Last week was an interesting one. It was clearly going to be an interesting discussion. It's something that went on for 3 lives, as you might be able to see from my Instagram. 3 hours, or well, I don't think it was 3 4 hours, but 3 hours anyway. And to be honest, it's to be expected. Whenever there's like men and women, but it was a lot of good feedback. I think a lot of women really resonated with the concept, but I hope the brothers did too, because it was mainly aimed at the brothers. I did get some good feedback from the brothers, but obviously the sisters tend to be more vocal on these things. So that's dope, man, and I'm glad that you guys are interacting with the pod. A few more views than usual on this one, on that one. So it was like, yeah, it makes sense. And it led to some good discussions as well. So thank you guys for joining on live. As always, thank you to all the Patreon supporters. One of these, maybe for the 20th episode or something, I'll just read out all the names of all the patrons, man, because you guys need to be thanked one by one. I think I'm up to 20 patrons now. So 20 of you decided this is worth money. The content you do a lot. I want to financially back it. I love that, and I really highly appreciate that. I'm feeling a bit rough. When I say rough, I don't mean like I'm ill or anything. I just feel kind of I don't feel sharp right now. I need to go like have a shower. I need to go and cut my hair. I need to like get into a right frame of mind. But uh, as an ode to consistency, I am cutting on the mic. I'm doing the lighting. I'm doing the talking. So, today's topic. As of now, I don't really know what I'm gonna call it. It's episode 16. I think I got it right last week. I think this is episode 16. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna call it as of now. You probably see the title before you hear this, but I just want to talk about the situation in Nigeria because it's one that saddens me but excites me as well. Um, I'm gonna say some things. It's gonna be a lot more jumbled because I have so many scattered thoughts today. I don't tend to like organize them, but I think usually a bit more organized. Today, I feel like they're a bit more scattered. So I'm giving a disclaimer just in case I maybe get a bit confusing or wander off on a tangent or, kind of go amiss with what I'm trying to say. But I want to address, well, the question I want to pose is if you have heritage from a particular country, um, let's say you have dual heritage, but you live in one and you have heritage in terms of family history from another. How much do you owe the country of your family's heritage? And if you know me and you can figure it out from the sign that says Allah and my accent, the countries of my heritage are the UK because this is where I was born and raised, educated. This is the culture that's raised me, in many ways, but at home and historically and genetically and every other sense of what one can call culture and heritage belongs to Nigeria. And I've always had a very interesting relationship between the two. I have gone from, you know, I think when I was a kid, I kind of used to reject it to a certain extent. I was never really, I mean, I've had varying stages. There was a time when I was a kid and my mom got really worried because I was in a primary school, private primary school. There was three black kids in the class. And we were making these profiles where you like paint a picture of yourself and you write your name, you write your age, where you're from, and uh, basically everyone was writing they're from England. And then maybe someone wrote India, I don't know, but like most people write in England. So the other two kids were both Jamaican. So they put their hand up to say, Miss, how do you spell Jamaica? They now wrote Jamaica, and I didn't want to be the only one to put my hand up to say, how do you spell Nigeria? So I just wrote down Jamaica. And obviously, you take the profile home, and my mum got super worried. That Christmas, she made sure I was in Nigeria. I really remember her giving me a bath in a Nigerian, in my grandma's house in Nigeria. I think the light had even gone. And she was just like, this is Nigeria. You know you're Nigerian, right? You know this is where you're from, right? I think she was really worried that in an attempt to give me this good life in the UK, I was losing my sense of identity, and she had to remind me. So, in many ways, I was kind of like aware, but I didn't really embrace it. I always kind of like, you support Nigeria in the World Cup, that kind of thing, but in terms of embracing it, I always felt bad about the fact that I didn't understand Yoruba. My mom made me feel bad, and I was like, I don't understand it. You gave birth to me here. You sent me to a school where they don't teach me Yoruba. How am I just supposed to understand what you're saying? So I almost like went the other way just to, I don't know whether I was rebelling or just to try and like as a coping mechanism. I was basically like, look, I don't want to. I can speak English. You can speak English. Like, anyway, I get to uni now. I joined the ACS, and I think uni was a big time in which I was trying to like work out who I am and um just I guess reinvent myself in many ways, because I feel like uni is a good opportunity for you to just sort of decide this is who I want to be and then go for it. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna set the standard. This is who I am. And I wanted to be super Nigerian. Oh, that's when I bought my Nigeria football shirt. I had a Nigeria football scarf. I had a Nike messenger bag that had a green, white, green stripe on it. I ordered this book on Yoruba. I just wanted to learn everything, and I went super Nigerian. This was around the time I started comedy as well, so I was always doing a lot of Nigerian shows, ACS stuff, and so on and so forth. But again, I never quite felt like it was for me 100%. There's always times where, like, at uni, there'll be, like, kids who've grown up in Nigeria. Nigerian. And there's always going to be that difference when they're talking about going to boarding school in Nigeria or secondary school in Nigeria, or when they're talking about, cultural references that I just wouldn't get because I grew up in the UK. So, essentially, it's a crisis of identity that leads me to a point where somewhere down the line I figure, look, I have to be me, I have to be honest, and I have to accept every aspect of who I am. And the most authentic version of me is a me that recognizes the fact that I was born and raised in this country, but that I cannot by any means divorce myself from my Nigerian roots, and neither do I want to, nor do I want to. So now that leaves me in a precarious position. How do I then interact with Nigeria as a concept? Every time I'm in Nigeria, there's an interesting thing, and most, first generation, British Nigerians and other nationalities will tell you that when you're in Nigeria, you're not going to be fully Nigerian. They're always going to see you as a British guy. And when you're in the UK, they don't fully see you as British. You're black, you're African, if they care to know that you're Nigerian, whatever. So it's a weird one. It's a very weird one. But saying that, one thing that's been clear to me for a while is that regardless of my identity, I have a huge passion for Africa in general, but Nigeria. Um, it was a couple of years ago. I started this business with a friend of mine where we used to run these trips to Africa. Um, and I'm saying that because we did Kenya and South Africa, not because I think Africa is a country. And I was going to South Africa quite a bit for stand up, and I've really kind of fallen in love with some aspects of the country. And I went to Nigeria as well because I really wanted to connect with the comedy scene out there and like start to make those links. I had a chance to make this pilot of a TV show for Nigeria, and I was like, this makes me feel like what I'm doing makes sense. Um, I've always wanted to connect with Nigeria in a meaningful way. And so connecting with Nigeria for me means that yes, I would like to either live there or be in and out of the country to a much larger extent. This is obviously all before the pandemic and stuff. But my idea was like, look, us as black people in the diaspora, we have to ask ourselves what makes us think that our success in life isn't tied to those at home. Why are we so quick to divorce ourselves and almost insulate ourselves from the problems in our home countries just because we're given access in another person's country? Yes, of course, we've made contributions over here, we've helped build these countries and so on, but we can't leave our real home in ruins and expect everything to be fine for us here. And I think it's at the root of a lot of the disrespect that we receive here is the fact that we're almost treated like we need to be here. The difference between when white people describe themselves as expats, they're saying so in a sense that I could be at home. There's actually nothing wrong with me being at home. My home's fine. It's okay. This is probably better for me, but I'm okay. When we talk about immigrants, the image is that you're coming from somewhere that's terrible and you just need a chance. You just need a chance to have access to where the wealth is and where the development is and so on and so forth. And so you can continuously ask for, more immigration. You can ask for fair rights. You can ask to be treated as though you were like a white person and so on. And these are all fair requests. But at the same time, there has to come a point where you stop asking, right? And you say, do you know what? I need to go fix where I'm coming from so that wherever I go, I don't have to endure bad treatment. That's my thinking, my evolving philosophy on this. But how do you go back to somewhere you've never lived? How do you go back to somewhere you've never operated? This last time I went to Nigeria was the first time I actually just like functioned by myself. I've come previously, even for one of my guys' weddings, Christmas time, whatever it is. But my mom will treat me like I'm flipping going into Afghanistan. Like literally, you have to have my protection here. You have to have me looking over you. I can't fathom it. This idea of you not being with me. And even if I go off and do one thing or the other, she's like literally on edge. And I get it. I know there are security concerns. I'm not naive. I'm just saying, like, I've never really had a chance to function like I function anywhere else in the world. I go to the US right now. I get myself a SIM card. I hook myself up with a phone. I go where I need to go. I rent a car. I drive. I go to cities I've never been to before. I book gigs. Like, I can just function in the US because obviously it's very similar in many ways to the UK. Nigeria, I wasn't really functioning. This time I functioned. I booked an Airbnb and I was ordering food and I was getting myself around using Uber and Taxify at the time, now Bolt. And this was the first time I really functioned. And my mum was there and she stayed with me for a couple of days, but she kind of left me to my own devices. And I think even she was kind of pleasantly surprised. And I really got a chance to network with the comedians. And within my short time there, I was on set at, the main sitcom. I went to like the version of the Daily Show over there. I went to comedy clubs there. I followed my bro to a corporate gig that he got. Like I really had great access and I was really able to move around and function. I even got on TV while I was there. I did an interview on like a late night talk show. So I look at Nigeria and I go, yeah, this is my heritage as well. And there has to be a space for somebody like me. But I've also had my issues with Nigeria. I've looked at many things and been thoroughly frustrated with the way they're done, with the mentalities. I did gigs out there and I was just frustrated with how people would behave in comedy shows. And I'd look at the roads, I'd look at the way people, I'd say, look, Nigerians are known for disciplining our children. Why doesn't the discipline show in our society? For all of the beating we've done, how come, Brother Lookman is still pissing in the gutter? Where's the discipline that we're talking about? We take so much pleasure in how much we can beat up our kids, but yet we can't wait in a queue. Something's wrong somewhere, right? Something's got to be wrong somewhere. If we're taking pride in, we discipline our kids, blah, 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 this and that. Yet we're so indisciplined in our civic lives. I'd often get into some heated conversations with my mum as well, and just the mentality and the idea. And obviously, this is because we're coming from two different worlds. It's two different worldviews. So now, trying to work out how I interact with Nigeria, it leads me to a quandary. Here's the quandary. If I want a change for Nigeria, is this because it's a good thing, or is it because it's a Western thing? Which begs the following question. If I want to go and improve Nigeria in some way, am I a neocolonialist? Am I just a new version of someone coming from the UK, deciding I would like to be in charge here, or I would like to change the way you people do things because you people are backwards and you need somebody to come and save you? It's very interesting. You'll get a lot of people in Nigeria who say, come back, we need your skills, we need your expertise. You'll also get people in Nigeria who say, please take those your Oyinbo ways of doing things. Oyinbo is just like a generic term for like white or Western. Take your Oyinbo ways of doing things. The same country, you'll have people passionately asking you to come back and people passionately telling you to piss off, that we know how we do our things and they're proud of it. And it started getting to a point. There was one point I made this video, and I think I took it down off my YouTube. It was called Dear Nigeria. And I got to the point where I was like, nah, come on. What happened was there was an airplane crash. And a bunch of kids that were like coming home from school or whatever. It was a local airline. And this airline, I think, had a crash recently before. And I said, there's no way you can tell me this is a cultural thing. Like, oh, we're trying to ruin your culture. If simple air safety isn't taken seriously and so much corruption has allowed this level of insecurity that children can die on a plane, you can't tell me that's your culture. It's just not working. That's an obvious one. I think that's an obvious one. I think most people can see that situation and be like, no, he's not trying to westernize us. He's trying to improve us. He's trying to say we need better safety controls, better maintenance culture. We need real investment. We need good quality skills and education and all these different things. But there are many ideas which maybe are more cultural. And I am somebody who believes in African solutions to African problems. Right? So I don't believe that the Western world has it right. I believe there are many things about, our cultures at home that are actually fantastic. I think the emphasis on family and the fact that we don't necessarily separate our lives from our spiritual lives can be a real strength. I think they can be a problem, obviously, because there are some terrible family situations in which people don't feel like they have a way out. Or there's ways in which there's a real practical solution and people will try and spiritualize the solution. But I think the fact that we're spiritual people and we're family oriented is sometimes our strength. It's what sometimes allows us to thrive when we get to other places. The fact that we're very focused on education, I think, allows us to thrive in many different places wherever we go. Nigerians in the US are more educated by percentage than Americans born in America. There are so many top doctors in the US who are Nigerian. So it tells me that Is given the right circumstances, we can thrive. But the circumstances of Nigeria is basically what needs to change so that people can thrive. But what are these circumstances? I've done, a video before where I was talking about 419 and fraudsters. And I was saying, like, it's a whole cycle. You can't have bad governance without having people who are willing to be bribed. You can't have fraudsters without girls who love fast money and extravagant lifestyles. You can't have girls who love extravagant lifestyles without poverty and lack of, legitimate opportunities. They all feed into each other. So when I look at this current protest that Nigeria is in right now, it started off with End Sars, and I think I mentioned Sars before last week. But Sars is a specific police task force that just basically went rogue and was just ridiculously brutal. It was not intelligence led. It was just based on Nigerian uncle mentality. You have a beard or you have tattoos, you must be a criminal. It's literally like that. It was that simple. And they were just being touts, thugs. And so the protest started off against police brutality, but it's kind of become a touch point or a touchstone for all the issues. And I think because the momentum is so palpable, people feel like this is now or never. There's been a lot of undercurrents of the fact that Nigeria is not functioning, and there are people who love it that way. They make a lot of money from it not functioning. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of issues. But how do I address those issues as a man in the diaspora? Trying to come to peace with what is essentially a privilege I've been given makes me sometimes approach the discussions around white privilege in a different way. Because I believe we all get some version of privilege. And the real question is, when you were given a privilege, what did you do with it? What did you do with the privilege you had? Because there's never going to come a time where we all have exceptionally equal lives. We're all going to have one privilege or the other over each other. So what did you do with it? So I have a British passport, for example, which allows me to go to the US for 90 days and just basically pay 30 quid or whatever for an ESTA, which is a whole process if I was coming with my Nigerian passport of applying for a visa. It allows me to go to Dubai and South Africa and all these places. And that's what's allowed me as a comedian to really thrive and have all these opportunities. So I knew that for me, I definitely wanted to become somebody who really plugged into the Nigeria scene, not because that was my comedy home, but that was because I could understand them and I could understand the international scene, and I wanted to become the adapter plug so that Nigerian comics could be introduced to the world, right? That's still one of my big aims as a comedian and entrepreneur. But at the same time, is that enough? People are literally dying in the streets. People are protesting right now. And there's a certain helplessness. And I don't know if it's a good helplessness or the fallout of some kind of savior complex. Maybe that somehow growing up in the West, based on the images you're shown of Africa, you, even as a black person, you're susceptible to the idea that these people need saving. It's very nuanced, and each scenario and situation is different, which makes it very difficult to navigate. But I don't know if this is something that, Ghanaians feel, or Indians feel, or any other person that has an ethnic background from another continent when they come to the UK. And even if your ethnic background is maybe you are French, if you now move to the UK and you live in the UK, you've grown up in the UK, do you have any responsibility towards, fighting or looking out for the betterment of French people back in France? I think in the UK we're in a very unique position because we retain our identities. You know, a lot of people when they get to America, they buy into the American dream, then they're American, full stop. But here, it's very clear, even when you're British, and we can say I am British, we are not going to ever sideline the fact that you're also Nigerian or Ghanaian or Kenyan or Indian or Pakistani or wherever else your family comes from. But what's the responsibility here? How do you handle it? That I don't know, and I haven't fully worked it out. I feel like I'm on the right path, and I feel like my heart's in the right place, but I feel like it's susceptible to very dangerous ideas and narratives. I feel like it doesn't take much before we can become our own problems and become our own enemies. You know, every so often I think about starting a business in Nigeria and how I would run it and what my vision is for Nigeria. I have vision for homes, beautiful homes in Nigeria. I have visions for beautiful city spaces, park spaces. I have visions for, an economy that shifts from consumption to production. I have a shift or an idea of help making sure the average man understands what building value really is, and that you don't build value from throwing a party. That's redistribution. But you build value from building platforms, building infrastructure, making sure that each person is educationally empowered, making sure that the entertainment and the content that they consume is uplifting and empowering and educational, whilst being fantastic and whilst being real and authentic and of a high quality. I have all these visions for Nigeria, but at the same time I know you can't just walk in and say everything has to change, guys. Nah, man. Every so often, I'll joke with a Nigerian about eating suya in Nigeria and how it's almost like if you go to a fancy. I had suya at like one of the upmarket hotels, Echo Hotels. I went there for a massage and then I got suya by the pool. That suya was one of the worst. Suya is like a kebab meat dish snack. It was one of the worst suyas I ever had. And we'll talk about how the suya on the side of the road is the best. And if you come with a Western idea, you can take away some of what makes it good. You can make it fancy, you can move it to a fancy location and so on. But if it loses the very flavor of what it is, you don't want it anymore. Maybe the fact that we love Afro beats and the music that comes from Nigeria is highly tied to the fact that Nigeria is a place of so much pain. And the Nollywood movies. But I don't know. I want to say end SARS. I want to say end corruption, bring accountability, end this bad governance. I want to be honest, let me not lie to you guys. I'll tell you guys in secret. I kind of want to see Nigeria burn right now. I want to see radical change. I want to see a revolution. I really do. And I'm quite excited by the concept of it. But it's very easy for me to say from London. I kind of wish I was there. But at the same time, I know that's almost like a white guy on a gap year, Anyway, join me tonight's live. Come and give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear it. Let's talk about it. What responsibility do you have? And to everybody who's out there protesting and doing the work, much love, much respect. To the patrons, to you guys joining the lives, thank you guys so much. Stay blessed.